What's going on, everybody? Chad back here. Welcome to the Dorky and 40 channel, and today we're going to be talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2. I've had this gaming PC for about 7-8 months. I don't know why I haven't got into Star Wars yet, but now that the snow's flying and flying drones is just almost impossible and not fun at all, it's time to get behind the keyboard and mouse here and have some fun. So Battlefront 2 is just an amazing online multiplayer game. It's been out for over a year. They've went through 3 or 4 different seasons. They're getting ready to come out with some new content here in February, but starting out as a beginner can be a little bit frustrating. It's just when you get away from playing games for 10 or 12 years and you come back into it at the ripe age of 41, you're immediately just at a disadvantage because these kids are just great and they have lots of time to spend on this stuff. So the bottom line, starting out as a beginner, is you just gotta grind it out, man. You gotta just play, pick out what you like to play. There's so many different things you can do. When it comes to playing Battlefront 2, there's a single player campaign. There is an arcade mode that has different kind of scenarios and some tutorials you can play in as well. There is, of course, the multiplayer, which has the heroes versus villains, where you can play heroic ships and go into battles. You can do the regular hero versus villains, where you have up to 8 people 4-on-4, and it's just all the big names in the Star Wars franchise going at each other. And then of course there's a showdown, which is a 2-on-2. In the Assault, the main game, which is Galactic Assault, and this is unlike any type of assault that I've ever played or any kind of shooter, because you have things going on in the ground, you have objectives, you have starfighters flying around in the sky doing battle at the same time. So it's just massive. It's not like your battle royale type of stuff, which a lot of people are into right now. The other great game that it has is Starfighter Assault, which is all Star Wars starfighters and taking down star destroyers and all that cool stuff. My favorite kind of gaming, just because I played all the Star Wars X-Wing games growing up as a kid. Played the Wing Commander games, so I really love that space combat type of stuff. There's also an Ewok hunt, there's extraction, and there's blast, which is basically an 8-on-8 type of deal where you just kind of like work things up with your characters. So it operates off of, there's no money involved unless you want to buy like skins or emotes, dances, if you're whatever, poses. After each game, you accrue battle points, which translates into credits, as you can see up here. And then you also get these building crafting points as well. And those can be used later as you keep on going. There are special characters, General Grievous and Obi-Wan, that you can purchase with these credits. And those are just kind of some of the latest additions to the game, as well as the addition of a few maps. So you basically just kind of start off with whatever mode that you want. If you want to start off in Starfighters, you start off with Starfighters. If you want to just do like the first or third person type of deal, then you will start off and pick what kind of a person you want to be. You know, each one of these specialist officers, heavy and assault, all have different attributes and stuff. And you basically just work your way up. You just grind it out. Like, I've got about 13 hours into this now, and I'm finally got, like, you know, some cards unlocked and maxed out. You just keep on going and going and going and going, and the more points and you level up, then you unlock more cards that makes your guys more powerful. So the first 5 to 6 hours that you put in here is really going to be kind of frustrating, because you're gonna die a lot, which I still die a lot, but at least you're gonna have a little bit more fun because you can start to take some damage and inflict some too. And then as you can see, you just progress through these milestones and you can start to unlock different weapons and different abilities. There's your different appearances that you can dress your guys up at and stuff if you would like. So there's just a lot of stuff to do. So you can either start out by just working on one specific class. You can see I'm kind of like a 4 on a specialist, 8 on an officer, 9 on heavy, 8 on assault. Or you can kind of spread it out like I have. Now, there are different milestones for playing each characters to get you some credits here at the beginning of the games. So it's just kind of nice to get a feel for what you like and just kind of go from there. And it's the same thing with the heroes. When you start playing in like heroes versus villain modes, like the heroes obviously are better people anyway, but you can also play them and work them up. Like if you look at my Darth Maul, I've been playing with him, so I'm a level 3 with Darth Maul, and I've unlocked a few cards that give him enhanced abilities as well. But yeah, it's just a grind. You got to grind it out and just play. It's kind of like one of those things. How much time and do you want to put into it? Do you want to get good at one person, get one thing, or you just want to go through and do a lot of different stuff? So let's take a look at a couple of the different game modes first, and we'll probably just go ahead and start with my favorite. We'll just go ahead and start with Starfighter Assault. So how a game begins, it just kind of puts you into a place here, different maps, and you'll go into like kind of a lobby here where we'll pick out what kind of ship we want to start with. And then if you have different, you can equip your different cards to your ship to make it more powerful and everything like that. But you can just see, just the game is just beautiful, and it plays just as good as it looks. So I've been working on building up my fighter, which is like your X-Wing and TIE fighter, so I'm just going to go ahead and start with that.
Destroying those cruisers is
So the first thing it wants us to do is to just go after these cruisers, so we'll just speed up here a little bit. But you can just see just how awesome and fluid everything runs here. You know, I've got a pretty mid-range gaming system here. It's nothing spectacular, but it definitely gets the job done.
I've taken heavy damage. Careful, runs behind you.
And as you can see, just like that, you're gone. So here we are about 5 minutes into the game here, and I have died about 5 or 6 times already. And just went down again. And you can see these guys are like super pilots here with all the cards that they have, and they're all at epic, but you know, you just kind of hit the start button and just get in there again and see what you can do. And now that that's over, let's take a look at another popular game mode here, the Heroes versus Villains. And we'll go ahead and just start in as everybody's favorite player, Luke. And they dropped us into the middle of a game here, so not sure exactly what we're getting into. But you can see I am down for the count already. So, goal here is to attack the person who says attack. Which doesn't work as well sometimes, as you can see. Nevertheless, it's still a heck of a lot of fun. So let's get back in there and see if we can do something here. We also have abilities, as you can see down there in the corner.
Not today.
Number
not
1,
ever.
2, and 3.
This is for my fight.
And it doesn't seem like I have much help going on here. So this is a pretty popular game mode for beginners, and this is the Blast game mode, which I believe is 20 on 20. Most of them last about 10-15 minutes per game, and really it's just getting as many kills and as many points as you can to like level up your player. And the usual, you know, when you're starting off as a newer player, you're just pretty much going to get smoked every time. Luckily, I've got a little bit of advantage compared to what I've had when I started. So, again, if you haven't heard, I'm about 12 hours in, so I've leveled up everybody kind of evenly. I haven't went after one specific character. This is probably my second or third favorite, along with the Starfighter, and then of course what we're going to look at next, which is the Galactic Assault, which is just super crazy.
Grenade out.
And so then of course we'll get into the granddaddy of them all, which is the Galactic Assault. And depending upon what map you're on, you can either fly a starfighter, you can take a tank or an ATST or an AT-AT, you can be a trooper, you run through the objectives. It's literally just all out a bunch of chaos and a bunch of fun. Doesn't mean you're going to die any less. So we're getting dropped in as a regular assault trooper, and let's just see how this goes.
We've got a full-scale invasion of Kashyyyk going on. Separatists want to stop us from launching our fleet. They're sending a strike team to one of our cruisers nearby. We'll intercept the multi-troop transport carrying their droids.
So you definitely want to work with your team and your squad on this one, and you can see pick up the ion disruptor. That's what you definitely want to do, is go towards these objectives and play your objectives. So these are games usually last about 15 to 20 minutes, so they're a little bit longer and a little bit more involved. We'll have to wait for some people to go down here so we can spawn in. You can always click on default and spawn into a different area too. We'll switch to a heavy here, something that can take a little bit more damage, but of course there's snipers up there that know what they're doing and waiting for us to spawn in, so it's just great stuff.
Enemy transport, absorbing ion blast. Got to overload them. Keep firing.
Man, there's some good people playing here today. Jeez. Sometimes you can at least make it around the map a little bit.
Who is that? Someone slaughtering our troops! Allied enemy now landing.
And that was Palpatine that just got me. And then, of course, there is the main story campaign, which is just a single mode that you can play through. I've seen some reviews that it's a pretty good story. It's been updated a little bit and since the launch, and the good thing about it is you gain more credits, so that way you can spend them on cool things, such as the new Count Dooku character that's going to be coming out next month. So like with any game that when you start off with, you definitely want to check out things like your video controls. I'm letting it do everything for me here. Nothing special at all, so that's all taken care of. And you also want to go through and maybe set up things like keybinds and things like that. I've changed mine around a little bit to kind of mimic what I'm used to and what I like to use. And the music and audio on this is, obviously it's fantastic because it's Star Wars, so don't forget to check that out too. So that's pretty much a wrap up of the beginner's guide to Battlefront. Just bang it out, grind it out, get through it. It's enjoyable, it's fun. If you love Star Wars, you're going to have a great time with it. The game's only $30, and I've got a lot more $30 of fun out of this than I would of a $30 flight controller. That is for sure. So we'll talk to you guys later on.